What's going on, everybody? So, it's always, every time one of these mass shootings or anything happen, it always kind of spark debates about gun-free zones and whether they actually work. They don't. So we're going to dive into this controversial topic and see what the facts tell us. We got a pretty good idea. All right, so listen, we're going to talk about gun-free zones, those places where firearms are prohibited by law, like schools, malls, certain public buildings, all of that stuff. They're intended to keep us safe, but do they really work? Let's break down the arguments for and against these zones and see what's really going on.
Everybody ready? Yeah.
Gun-free zones are meant to prevent violence by keeping guns out of certain areas. The idea is that if no one has a gun, no one can use a gun. But critics argue that these zones might actually attract criminals who know they won't encounter armed resistance. So what's the truth? Are gun-free zones effective, or are they just an illusion for safety? All right, so let's look at some statistics and case studies. Incidents have occurred in gun-free zones, leading to questions about their effectiveness. For instance, we can always go back to the tragic shooting at Sandy Hook back in 2012, and the Virginia Tech shootings in 2007. Both took place in gun-free zones. Studies show that a significant number of mass shootings occur in gun-free zones. According to the Crime Prevention Research Center, 94% of mass public shooting between 1950 and 2019 happened in gun-free zones.
That's a whole lot.
So proponents argue that gun-free zones prevent accidental discharges and reduce the likelihood of arguments escalating into deadly encounters. They believe these zones make it easier for law enforcement to identify threats.
Well, that's just plain stupid.
Critics point out that criminals don't follow laws, including gun-free zone regulations. So they argue that these zones leave law-abiding citizens defenseless and that armed citizens can potentially stop a threat before law enforcement arrives. Research and expert opinions provide some interesting insights. For example, John Lott, a prominent gun rights advocate, argues that gun-free zones are magnets for killers, all right, because they guarantee unarmed victims. Meanwhile, other studies like those from the RAND Corporation suggest there is no clear evidence that gun-free zones either increase or decrease gun violence significantly. All right, so what's the bottom line? Gun-free zones are a contentious topic with strong arguments on both sides. While they're intended to create safe spaces, the evidence of their effectiveness is mixed. I say it's now. Personally, I believe that relying solely on gun-free zones for safety can be problematic. We need to consider comprehensive approaches that include responsible gun ownership, better mental health support, and effective law enforcement. But I'd love to hear what you think. Do gun-free zones work, or are they just a false sense of security? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to check out my other videos on related topics. If you found this discussion helpful, hit that subscribe button.
Don't forget to like and subscribe
For more content. Stay safe and informed. We'll talk to you guys later.